We call this regular commission meeting to order on March 3rd at 7 p.m. I'd like everyone to please rise. We got Reverend Rebecca Lepley, and immediately after the prayer, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Holy God, source of all things, we thank you for the gift of community. And dear Lord, we elect, but you confer authority. We occupy roles, but you form hearts. Help us to have the courage to lead by serving and putting aside the world's easier ways. Help us to emulate your apostles, not in the early days when they craved power and preference, but in the latter days after Calvary when they prayed only for courage and wisdom. All this we ask in the name of the one who led by loving and serving, suffering and sacrifice. Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Scarpa.
Here.
Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Lovett.
Here.
Commissioner Melody is away. Commissioner Simpson.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
City Manager Levitt. Here.
Moving on to communications, we've got a letter from the Council on the Aging about an event coming up that's dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. And then we've got the information that our city manager put together for publication in the paper about the PA 33.
I make a motion to accept and file the communications.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Levitt?
Yeah, I'd just like to bring attention to the letter that we received from the Council on the Aging, that it is a community forum. It's going to be held on Tuesday, March 15th at 6 p.m. at the Washington Life Center, and it's regarding setting up some services in our community here in the Downriver area for dealing with Alzheimer and dementia patients. And I think that's a service we really, truly need in this community, and love to see a big turnout for that event. Again, that's March 15th at 6 p.m. at Washington Life. Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to public comment portion of the meeting. You're invited to come to the podium, address the commission. Please state your name and address and keep your comments to under 5 minutes. Rosalie?
Rosalie Squires, 211 Michigan. On Tuesday, we would be asked to vote for yet another special assessment, another special interest project, a tax putting more taxes on the people that live here. The simple answers to Marine City's money issues is to retire, close down the special assessment districts created in the 1980s when Blanchard was governor. Shut down the special districts, tax increment finance districts 2 and 3, we call TIFA. Districts where money is bleeding out for special interest projects like restoring the old City Hall on Broadway. TIFA 2 and 3 pay more than their fair share of taxes. Only large portions of it get diverted out of the general fund. If it were today, we could not form these districts. No new ones can be formed, but we, like idiots, renewed ours. They have been banned for almost 3 decades because Michigan realized how bad they were from the general funds of communities a few years after the amendment was formed. Yet we are bleeding all the money hemorrhaging out of our general fund. Why? so the Rich River Boys and others can spend the money on special interest projects. The tax burden gets shifted to the people who live and sleep here. While our property values remain stagnant, many home mortgages remain underwater, rentals stand empty because no one wants to come live here where taxes and water bills are high. The TIFA districts 2 and 3 are mostly in commercial areas where more tax is captured. Even the properties in TIFA 2 and 3 are not benefiting from these projects. How do businesses I use, like Food Depot, my dentist's office on Parker, the gas stations, benefit? They do not. How do businesses that I use in Riverside Plaza, like VG's or Kmart, the 2 bookend stores, or any other store, and the cinema I use, benefit? They do not. My chiropractor, Dr. Gilbert, his business does not experience a benefit, nor does McDonald's, where I get my senior coffee, or Big Boy, where my husband likes to eat spaghetti. How can I vote in another tax for myself and the businesses I use when the taxes they pay now are mismanaged on special interest projects? And I will end up paying more for it once again on increases on goods and services to make up for the tax increases we are putting on them and ourselves. I believe less is more. Not only is less more, often it is more than enough. We have enough. We have way more than enough if we stop mismanagement. I am voting no on March 8th. Thank you.
I don't see anyone else. Go on.
Ray Squires, 211 Michigan. When I was on the TIFA board, which I was for a couple of years, people came all the time with their hands out for their special interest projects. Always. And I second what my wife just said about, we confiscate money from the area, Kmart, Big Boy, elsewhere. We just confiscate their money and we use it for the pet projects, anything that comes up with these special interest groups, that the Rich River Boys are always in favor of. Maybe for Rich River Boys, the tax isn't very much. Somebody said, well, it costs a pizza a month. Well, okay, that's less business for Anitas or Jets or Happies, all right? So every dollar is impacted. We also have lower income than other local communities. We have lower income on average than other local communities in this area, all right? I find it amusing that, we're in a temporary city hall. After 10 years, we're still in a temporary city hall. We're meeting in a fire hall, okay? And we look around us and we see other communities with beautiful city halls. I don't understand how we're mismanaging all of our money. I don't get it, okay? We need to get rid of TIFA. It's an albatross around our necks. It drains money that for special interests, they're pet projects that we could use for, to pay for police. We need to get rid of TIFA. Have the guts to get rid of TIFA. As far as, it said in The Voice yesterday that, well, it might cost, homeowners $152 a year, but if the city commission acts, it could go up to, what was it, 5%? I don't like that. I don't know what I'm going to be paying. I don't want my taxes raised. I don't like, I wouldn't want to have an adjustable rate mortgage and let it be on the whim of the city commission to say, well, you're going to pay more taxes now. I don't like that. I was out the other night around town and there were 4 or 5 young people that I overheard their conversation. They were talking loudly. Now, one woman whose mother lives in Marine City was saying she's got to get her mother out of here. These were people in their 20s or 30s. She says, I got to get my mom out of here. And I'm like, what is she, Jewish in Nazi Germany? She said, my mother's on a fixed income, and she's just fed up with the taxes, and the water bill. She says she can't take it anymore. She says, I got to get her out of there. And another young man was looking to buy a house. And somebody said, why don't you look in Marine City? He says, are you nuts? He says, Marine City has like the highest taxes, among the highest taxes in the county. He says, their water bills are outrageous. He says, that'd be the last place I'd want to move around here is to Marine City. And that's just a sample, you know. That's just a sample. So we need to get rid of Tifa, use our money wisely. We wouldn't be in this situation if we didn't have Tifa. Thank you.
Mr. Hawes.
All right, Bill Haas, 203 Pleasant Street. I'm here today to let the people know I don't give a which way this damn vote goes. I'm here to let people know I have no friends. Mr. Melly, how can we deal with blight in this town when his yard's as bad as it is? I came to you people, asked you for a dash cam video, you sat there, you did nothing. Two meetings ago, I came in, gave you 6 properties within a 12-house stretch. You've done nothing. I lit up Facebook this weekend. I had a good time. I had a pretty good damn time. All that Facebook shit going down. You know, what's up? We got Alan Ritchie back there. I spent all summer long going through the damn city collecting deals. He pops in the last couple damn weeks. Wants to be somebody. Lisa Hendricks, you need to pick your deals. You know, Mary Ellen McDonald and Keith Jenkins single out one person on PA 33 trying to persuade a vote. Where's the other 2,999 envelopes? Where's the other 9,000 sheets of paper giving everybody their information? Mary Ellen McDonald, she's our treasurer. Where's, she don't even know TIFA 2 and 3 is expiring. We had a big water problem where part of the city didn't get their water bill. Ain't she in charge? No red flags? Nice little community. Screw you, pay the late fee. You know, this is ridiculous, people. I mean, you don't do nothing for the citizens. You know, I've done my part. I've got 2 daughters, 8th grade, 10th grade, both top 10. Actually, I'm real proud of my 10th grader right now because she's first out of 143 in the class. You know, she asked me to stop, so this is my last meeting coming here. But I'll tell you what, over the weekend, we had Gary Cole make a comment because, you know, Bill Haas is an ass, Bill Haas is this. You know, I was getting bashed. I was loving it. I was glad. I called Palin. For everybody in Marine City who knows, Georgie Palin, Chris Palin, Patrick Palin. Only one of them lives in this town. They want to bring hundreds of thousands of people to our town. Well, move your ass back into town.
That's right.
You know, like I say, this is, you people wonder why you wonder why people go up and shoot damn schools and hotels and everything else. It's because, you know, like I said, you want money from me? I don't give a shit. $150, I can go scrap $150 in a month. Even with scrap prices down to nothing. So $150 ain't squat to me. Some people it might be. You know, but this shit is taking care of Water Street when you can't even take care of the damn residents. That's amazing. You know, you got actually the one good thing that came out of all my bitching this weekend, besides pissing Chuck off over there, was now I know there's a drug house in my neighborhood. Kind of had suspicions, but somebody else brought it up that hey, you know, you're taking pictures of this house here. What about the drug house? Well, you know, I had two houses that I could go to, and it was confirmed that the one house out of the 2, which person I wrote back to. You know, I know some people who smoke marijuana, whether they got their card or not. They're telling me about prescription pill and a heroin problem in this town. You know, this is amazing. I have a pot smoker telling me we got a prescription pill and heroin problem in this town. You know, you people wonder. You know, I don't know if he's had a chance to talk to anybody, but I got more arsenal. Something happens to one of my kids at school, I'll tell you what. The ECSD in the damn Marine City is going to see some lights go off. There's going to be a lot of egg to go on everybody's face. Like I say, this is amazing. This is my last deal. People downtown, let's see how much they want to complain. They want to live in a slum, they're going to see my truck with the signs parked in front of the Sweet Tooth, parked in front of the theaters. Then they can bitch to you. Then maybe we can get some bullshit done in this town. You know, it's damn amazing in this town. 22 years, I do my part, my kids are good, but we can't even take care of my damn neighborhood with the bullshit laying all around. Amazing. Like I said, I have no friends. I don't care if I got friends. The only one who cares is what I care and what I know.
Anyone else?
Becky Lepley, 539 North William. It's wonderful to hear all the various voices. I sometimes wonder if we live in the same town, because I'm so thrilled to be here. Anyhow, sometimes we talk about
You weren't interrupted at the podium. Give her her time.
sometimes we talk about this as if Marine City is the only town going through this. But almost 10 years ago, a perfect storm started to focus in on large and small municipalities in Michigan, all of them. Part of it is state formula adjustments for revenue sharing. The state adjusts the formula every year. It's very hard to predict and do a budget when you don't know how much money you're going to get. Also, the Great Recession pulled the bottom out of property values up to almost 30%. The Headley Amendment limiting recovery of lost tax revenues to 2% per year. And legacy promises, I don't like to call them costs, but legacy promises to retirees made in good faith before the steep drops in revenue to the city and not figured into budgets for years ate up more and more of the city budgets. Drastic cuts and layoffs were made to services. In spite of all of this, our city government, and I thank you, has guided us to safe harbor. But we can no longer go anywhere without fuel for our ship. The tanks are empty, and in spite of awesome improvements to our city, we could be stuck in port for some time with possible permanent damage to our little ship of state. But we, the people, the citizens of Marine City, have it in our power to provide much-needed fuel to our little ship of state. The PA 33, which does not fall under state formula, we get it all, will get us seaworthy once more. Pay yourself first. Vote yes on PA 33. Thank you.
Good evening. Alan Richley, 559 North Bell River. There is a certain purpose, or excuse me, a certain person whose sole purpose of coming to this podium is to personally attack myself and people of this community. I'm a firm believer in the golden rule and treating others as I want to be treated. So tonight, instead of going back and forth with a petty personal slogfest, I'm going to focus, as always, on facts and figures. One of my former fellow board members once told me that wise words that were, don't wrestle in the mud with pigs. You both get dirty and the pig likes it. So I'm not going to engage in that. With that being said, on to the real issues. It has come to my attention that Commissioner Hendrick was denied access to information at the last commission meeting. This is something that deeply concerns me as a resident and community member, and it is my understanding that she requested emails from commissioners and administration. As a member of a board in our local community, I've submitted requests of this nature, and they were provided to me with no questions asked. As recently as today, actually. My question is, why are you blocking Commissioner Hendrick from this information? What is there to hide? Why the lack of openness and transparency? Commissioner Hendrick has a right to ask for and receive information just like any other commissioner. We elected her just as we elected each of you to represent us. If you are going to debate whether or not to give her this information she requested, then why is any member of this board allowed to ask for or receive any sort of information? Does this mean that a commissioner would have to submit a FOIA request for the budget or anything else? On to another issue. In 5 days, we all face a very critical choice with this commission-backed PA 33 tax increase proposal. Let me take a moment to break this down Barney style. The average homeowner in Marine City owns an $88,000 home on average. When you divide this in half, it comes to $44,000, which is your taxable value, as you know. The rate allowable under this tax increase proposal is $5. So you multiply 5 by 44, that's $222 of an increase. Also, we've been hit with a water rate hike as well. When will it end? I have asked a question at each meeting I have attended. I believe this is the third or fourth, and I have yet to get an answer. I asked specifically where the extra money in the general fund will go. Commissioner Lovett came the closest to answering my question, which was still not an answer, but it was close. She said, look in the budget, and I did. She said it would be all in there, and it was not. There was not one thing in there because the budget is balanced. So my question is, where will the money go? I still don't have an answer to that question. Commissioners refuse to be candid about where the money will go. Commissioner Avery made a good point a couple of meetings ago. He said we are a republic, not a democracy. And anyone who knows the Constitution would agree with that statement. We elect you to represent us. But if you do not listen, then we have no choice but to show you the door. People have voted down tax proposals in recent years very close to PA 33, and yet here we go again. The mayor was quoted as saying that this is what the majority of the commission wanted. It's clear to me that you are not listening to the people. I've been talking to a lot of people in our town, and they've just started getting out of an economic recession and or slump. And you want to kick them as they're getting back up. Based on all the people I've spoken to in the last few weeks, I think it's safe to say that this ugly sweater that I'm wearing this evening could win a fashion contest. That's more likely than this tax increase passing next Tuesday. But lastly, something I think is very serious that all of you need to think about is you serve the people, you serve us. And also, with all due respect, I think that someone coming up here with a police uniform to talk about a political issue, I think is inappropriate, with all due respect. But anyway, I urge everyone to vote on next Tuesday, March 8th. And so, anyway, thank you very much.
One last time, anybody say something?
You had your time, Bill. Anyone else?
Moran, 710 Pleasant Street. Good evening, everybody. Elaine, nice job on the article in the paper for Tuesday. Well, we got an election scheduled on Tuesday, and I urge everyone in Marine City to come out and exercise their responsibility and vote. I'd like you to approve PA 33, but each voter will have to determine whether or not that is in fact what they want to do based on fact, based on truth that each voter needs to determine for his or herself. Not by trusting my word or someone else's, but by examining the facts unadulterated by someone's political agenda. It's interesting to note that the opponents of this millage have, with some exceptions, consistently felt they need to resort to misinformation, disinformation, innuendo, and in some cases outright lies to make their point. If they are indeed right about their side of the millage, why not let simple facts speak for themselves? The most ridiculous accusation being made, here we go again, is that the commission is hiding something because they won't answer as to where the money will be spent. It's right, it is in the budget. That budget was created prior to the changeover from the rejection of PA 33, and the things that are outlined in that budget are indeed what have been set up for that money to be used for. The budget is online. Anybody can pull it up. It's under the Treasurer's Department, under budget information. So please take a look, and it'll give you an idea of where our budget is. Think, people. The politicians among us who oppose this are of the same stripe as those guys in Washington who prefer to shut down the government rather than compromise. They're kindred to the gang in Lansing who, lowered taxes and cut spending, and now we have the worst roads in the nation, and we'll have to pay extra fees and higher taxes to make up for what we've lost in the meantime. These are the same guys that cut spending in Flint, and now we have the cost to repair the city and the lawsuits that will probably run into the millions, if not billions, in total cost. And that expense, again, will be borne by us, mostly the middle class. This is to say nothing of the children whose lives have been ruined forever. These local teapot wannabes wear the same brand as the guys who want to break our unions and who've passed taxes on retirees' pensions. I feel like Noah, and there is a flood coming. Commissioner Melly, I'm glad you were able to make it here tonight. It's not possible to say if this millage is going to raise or lower our property taxes. There's no one thing that is going to do that. What will impact our property values, however, is whether or not this city has a stable, functioning government, a secure tax base, is able to maintain its structures, its infrastructure, and its services, and can make the capital expenditures needed for the future. These things will attract residential growth and business investment, and this will ultimately lead to higher property values in our city. I believe our city has the leadership it needs to move this city forward. That leadership has recommended the passage of PA 33. I've watched them, talked to them, listened to them, talked to people in the city offices. And I believe this is the right thing to do. I think the result of this election, however, is about more than just passing this millage. It's about who will be leading our city into the future. This isn't just about the cost of a pizza a month. Please come out and vote on Tuesday, but do your homework. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Make the decision on your own. Remember, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good people do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Go. Make me wait.
Charles Signori, 224 North Elizabeth. I had no plans of coming up here really, but after all the negativity that's going on in this audience, which is only part of, I think, the city, a very tiny part. But I guess I just want to say that we are up for a vote on Tuesday. I think that, if I'm not correct, I signed that petition to bring it to a vote. Each one of us has our own vote. I personally will probably vote for it. I think you guys have a tough time up here trying to balance what you have. People think you have so much. You have very little. We're working with death in a fire hall, you're absolutely correct, with folding tables as our gathering spot. It's pretty nasty. The only way we're going to get anywhere is with a balanced budget. By the way, I sat in a budget meeting today with TIFA. I am proud to be on the TIFA board, whether people like it or not. We don't spend money frivolously, as people would say. And then, sir, if you were on that TIFA board, you would know that...
Charles, please keep your comments directed to the board.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. But if people would like to volunteer and be part of the TIFA board, come to our meetings. We're on the third Tuesday of every month. And We have nothing to hide. You're welcome to come. We might have 1 or 2 visitors. I've been on it for 13 months, and I think we've had 3 people show up, 4 people maybe in that time, but everybody's got an opinion. And I think that people need to come out, work with the board. I've been here on budget nights when these people are putting together a budget. And I hate to say it, there's only usually 1 other person, maybe 2 of us, sitting in this audience here. But yet everybody wants to pipe up and have their opinion. We're all entitled to it. But let's show volunteerism. Let's show people that we do care about this city. Let's all do our share. You want lifeguards down at the beach? Why don't we do something about it? Get some committees together. I'll volunteer. If somebody wants to do something, I'm a person that will volunteer in this city. I already do. I think we live in a great city, but everybody just wants to argue. I'm sick and tired of the arguing. I'm sick and tired of living in the slums. As some people say, it's slums. I want to see the roads fixed. I want to see the infrastructure taken care of. I'd like to see our elected officials sit somewhere a little bit nicer than this. We're not asking for much, folks. As far as the police department goes, I looked at both sides. I've been part of the town hall meeting. I've been around listening to everybody, both sides. I'm not political. I'm not here on a board. I don't sit with these people. I don't really know them. But I live in this city. And we want a police department. They do a good job. It's the way to go. I think our fire department speaks for itself. It's a very good fire department. I think that they've done a great job with their monies. I can't speak for every department, but I mean, if we could do something like that with the police department, that'd be great. I don't know how to get there. Maybe some of you do. Maybe some of the people in this city have some good ideas. Let's put our heads together. That's all I'm saying. But we need to raise the money. We need to put the money to good use and spend it on our city and get things done. Enough griping. Let's find a solution for the problem. Quit pointing the finger. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission? Going once, going twice, moving on to the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion and support. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda's been approved. Approval of the minutes is the next item on the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the City Commission regular meeting of February 18th, 2016.
Support. Motion support. Is there discussion on the minutes? Commissioner Hendrick?
I just noticed one thing on page 6 here. It says that, it's about third down here. You said that my request for the emails was due to having a hard time getting information. That's not really what it was for. So I did have to wait for some other documents for a month and a half or a couple months, but it wasn't that particular request. So that's kind of incorrect in there.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. Now we move on to item 8, which is our consent agenda. We have item 8A, which is the 2016-2017 budget schedule. We have item 8B, which is a business license for Over the Toe Kick LLC. We have item 8C, which is a special event permit, the Tootsie Roll Drive. We have item 8D, which is building and code enforcement activity reports. Item 8E, which is Tifa minutes from January 19th. That's that.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion and support. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor, say, oh.
I'm sorry, just a very short one. That is, our code enforcement officer only worked like 20 hours in 30 days, and I thought we approved for a longer time than that. There really is a need for enforcement in this community, not just with building, et cetera, but blight and, you go around and places aren't shoveled. There are places that need to be boarded up or encouraged to clean up anyway, so I don't know if that's a possibility, if there's a reason that.
That's something I'm looking into. It has been mentioned before that the budgeted amount had maybe been changed recently, or you guys budgeted a little bit more money, so it's something I'm investigating and trying to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, we did, but, and this was actually kind of funny, because this was we had the agenda meeting, this was one of the discussions that it took, 30 hours to do, or is it 20 hours to do 30 parking? I don't know, whatever it is. All he managed to do is do special parking permits, so. Yeah, we need to work on that. But I don't know if that extra money that was approved would have been tied to the PA 33 though, because I think we put in another $6,000 for ordinance inspection, but that was probably one of the items that got put on hold. So I'm not sure.
I don't think we took it out.
No, I don't recall taking that.
We didn't take anything out. We just haven't spent anything we're going to spend because of the PA 33.
Maybe something to look into.
Yeah, because we're not getting any extra blight inspections or ordinance enforcement like we wanted to. Commissioner Simpson?
Yeah, along those lines, I had a real problem with when I read in the memo that we received with the department update that, my understanding is he has a daytime job that he doesn't get out till 3 p.m. Well, he only has a sliver of daylight hours to even work in the winter. And I think that by design is problematic. I realize it's a reality for us that, employees, part-time individuals, and that's a concern, but I think that's a real problem by design. I don't think there's a way to get past something like that. So, that was something that we've heard time and time again in the budgets and in the workshops and these open town hall meetings since I've been here, and we attempted to do something about it. Now it seems like not only were we not allowed to do more, we're doing less. And that's a real problem. So I'm glad to hear that it's something that you're addressing. Well,
in the discussion that we had, the last meeting we had, I mentioned that maybe that's something we should give back to the police department, because originally they were doing that type of work, and they did a much better job of it, but we are understaffed with the police department, so if we gave them more work to do, we'd have to find a way to finance it or pay for it. But that was one of my suggestions, that maybe that. Because, yeah, you're right. If he's just part-time and after 3, how much is really getting done? Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to unfinished business, we have 9A, which is offense ordinance adoption. This would be the adoption.
I make a motion to adopt Fence ordinance number 2016-02.
Support.
We have motion and support. Discussion? No one? Would you like a roll call vote, anyone on this one? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We have 1 nay. Moving on to item 10A, which is board appointments. We have one person applied for the dangerous building board, and this will give us an actual quorum, right? So they can actually meet. I don't know this individual, but looks like he has the right qualifications.
I move to appoint Mr. Is it Pauloon? Is that the pronunciation? Hopefully I got that right. To the vacancy on the Dangerous Board of Appeals.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any discussion on Mr. Poland? No.
Just for those following along at home or in the audience, the Dangerous Board of Appeals has not been able to meet for a good deal of time, and that's one of the issues that we've had in addressing buildings and blight in the city, is that citizens always have some sort of due course of action in our process, whether it be zoning board of appeals or in this case, the Dangerous Board of Appeals, so that I know we've been waiting a long time for this board to be able to meet so we can address a number of concerns that we've had. So it's a very important board appointment. Also all too often we sit up here and we beg and we plead for people to volunteer for positions, and this is a great example right now of sort of the trickle-down effect. When we don't have people to come up and volunteer for these things. We're not able to give citizens a due process or address issues. So all these items that have been sitting for months and months and months, several months is my understanding. So I'm glad that someone has stepped forward and seems to be a very qualified individual to be able to move forward as a city on some of these items.
Commissioner Levitt?
And also, just to add to that, there are still vacancies, I believe at least 3 with this one, then there's 3 vacancies left, so if anyone has the urge or has been encouraged to volunteer, there's still more volunteers are needed on this committee, and I'm sure there's some other committees that still could use some help.
I'd like to chime in on that one. Yeah, we were actually supposed to have zoning board of appeal meeting yesterday, and a couple people were out of town, but because we don't have a full board, we had to cancel that meeting, and it's got to be rescheduled. It's going to cost the money because we have to notify people again. It's rescheduled. So yeah, we could sure use the help, especially on that board right now.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to the Dangerous Building Board. Moving on to financial business, we have item 11A, which is budget amendments. And do you want to go over some of these with us? I know I might be mistaken, but I don't recall seeing resolutions to transfer money from TIFA to our general fund before. So I was looking.
Yeah, we do it every year.
All right. I just being
You wanna-
forgetful of that.
You want me to
This
start?
item for the budget amendments is to address the final payment to Monahan for the work that was done at Old City Hall, and also just some other minor amendments for SCS to provide the grant services to TIFA as well. There is a resolution that needs to be approved for the budget amendment, and then there are resolutions for transfers for each of the TIFA. There's also a resolution for transfer for the water fund as well. That's something apparently we've done every year. We don't have meters for our municipal use, and this is to transfer to the water fund for a estimated amount of water that we use. There's also the disbursements as part of this financial business. I don't know if you want to address that as well. I did provide you with a copy of the final invoice for Monahan. That's just additional information for your use for consideration as approving these items.
Well, that invoice is being paid by TIFA, and that's not actually our invoice per se, since it was a TIFA project, so.
It is in your disbursements to approve, so that was just some additional information.
Do we have any other comments? Commissioner Avery?
Just a question. I thought we were in a situation where Monahan, I'm going to use the word owed the city money.
This is money held in escrow for work that was approved years ago.
Yeah, probably.
That was owed
So-
to him. They finally could finish that work.
Okay, so we're going to be able to use the money, though, that has been held.
Well, that money should have been, in reserve all this time from TIFA. It was never spent. It was approved, but never spent, so. Commissioner Lovett?
My question with that is, yes, they did come back and they did do a number of improvements on 300 Broadway, fixing some items that were not working properly. They seem to be pretty much done, but has anyone gone back in and really checked out to see that is, have we done a punch list?
Yeah, I went through that with both Ray and Mike Kittredge. We did a walkthrough and checked all the doors and work that was part of the contract to make sure that it was satisfactorily completed.
Yeah, well, just for a little history, in 2013, the subcommittee that was formed at the time went through and did a punch list. Then after that, then the city manager and the DPW director went through with the contractor and did a punch list. And then all those items were addressed at one point in 2013, but not to everyone's satisfaction. And then there was like nothing happening for a while. And then we had our lawyer start firing off some letters. Finally got some movement again on the contractor's part. Came back and completed the rest of the things that we thought were deficient, and then some warranty issues, basically, that came up. And all that was done, and as far as everyone can tell, that all of his obligations have been met. Commissioner Henry?
I guess my only concern, and I'm the one asked to see the invoice, you know, some of the quality of the brickwork is pretty questionable. And I guess it kind of bothers me that we're going to pay them all this money and we never did get any electrical or plumbing drawings. I remember asking about that a long time ago with any of the other drawings that we got. I guess you'd like to hold them accountable a little bit for some of the workmanship that was done on there, because, boy, you look at some of that brickwork and it sure was not up to par.
Anyone else? All right. Yep.
I just want to ask one question then. As far as the approval is passed by you and city manager then, or?
The city manager is the representative for the city on this project. The owner is the city. The owner representative is the city manager. So the final approval has got to be from the city manager.
Okay, I just didn't know, like, because I know we were holding back money because of the different things that weren't done, but I just wanted to know who made the final approval. So you made the final approval? Okay.
I did
All right.
tap into Ray and Mike as a resource because I don't have the depth of history on the project, but ultimately, yes, I was the one.
Okay.
I mean,
I just wanted to know who was the final approval. Like, it's one thing that you said and Mike said, but I just wanted to know who was the final authority approving everything so we can give them the funds.
The contract was written, and it's spelled out that the city manager is the owner's representative.
Okay.
So that it all falls on those broad shoulders over there.
Then ultimately, it comes to you guys for this approval now?
Well, I mean, technically, it was a TIFA project, so they actually had a say in the approval of the invoice also. They could have insisted on saying work was deficient or asked for more work or more things. It was up to them to also approve. But now, because of the budget transfers and the budget amendments, then it falls into our laps to approve that.
Okay.
But
All
I think, I think there's, everybody has their own opinion, but I think they met their obligations under this contract. Electrical drawings and plumbing drawings were never part of their contract. The nature of the quality of the brickwork, I mean, I had a lot of complaints myself, and they did even more additional tuck pointing and stuff at this last go-around. And like I said, we got some warranty issues resolved. They completely re-poured that pad by the east steps. They reset the capstones on those steps and painted doors. They did things that really were above and beyond the scope. They even repaired a vandalized door that was vandalized, and they went in and fixed that. So I think there was a good faith effort on the part of Monahan to actually fulfill their obligations, I think. And then the final bill is actually under budget. It's less than the total could have been, I think. It could have been like $123,000. So they came in under budget.
Okay, good.
So the 92,921 that we're paying for a total of $920,000, this is it? We're done with them?
We're done with them. The contract will be closed.
And looks like they deducted 27,000 or something? I noticed it over on the...
Yeah, I know they came in under budget.
They came in about 27,000 under what we still owe them.
Yeah, there was almost a 2-year, lapse in work over there, which actually worked out to our benefit. Because like I said, there were some things that you could almost have argued were just weathering, and where it would have fallen on regular maintenance that we got taken care of too, so. I think we're in good, I think it'd be good to close the books on this one.
I move to approve Resolution 008 of 2016, the adjustments and changes in anticipated revenues and expenditures.
Support?
The motion is support. Any further discussion? We have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
No.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner Melly.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Scargill.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to 11D, which are fund transfers.
Make a motion to approve the fund transfer resolution number 009-2016 from TIFO 1 to the general fund. Do you want them all at once?
You should
One
probably
by
do them
one?
separate so we can have roll call separately.
All at once?
Separate.
Separately. There's quite a few of them.
Yep.
There's 4, I think.
Sorry.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner Melly.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Scargill.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I make a motion to approve the resolution number 0102016, fund transfer from TIFO Fund 2 to general fund.
Support.
Motion support. Any discussion on that one?
Maybe state the amounts.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. You want to,
The amount is $15,250.
Thank you.
roll call, please.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner Melly.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Scargill.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Might as well keep going.
Okay, I make a motion to approve resolution number 011-2016, which is a fund transfer of $47,425 from TIFA number 3 fund to the general fund.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call again.
Commissioner Melly.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Scargill.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the last one, I make a motion to approve resolution number 012-2016, which is a fund transfer of $8,000 from general fund to the water sewer fund.
Support.
Motion support. Any discussion on that one? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Scargill.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner Melly.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. That does it for the fund transfers. Now we're moving on to 11C, which is disbursements including payroll.
Make a motion to approve disbursements, including payroll of $575,429.42.
Support.
Motion support. Any discussions on disbursements? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Scargill.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
No.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner Melly.
No.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Board. Moving on to the city manager's report.
All right, I had an inquiry about the grant for the LED lighting conversion upgrade. I was working with Mike Itrich and Mike Hilfinger on this grant. I had requested some detailed reporting information, spreadsheets on how they computed their 5-year payback for that LED grant. working with Mike Ittrich and taking a look at the spreadsheets, it didn't really add up to be a 5-year payback agreement, so we didn't move forward with that at this point. Talked to Mike Ittrich about it, and DTE still offers grants for LED upgrades, and he thinks that what he can do is individually do some of the buildings, the LED grant, and we can just directly apply for the DTE grant to offset those costs, and that way we can budget it and pay as we go for these upgrades. I don't know if you guys want to potentially make that an agenda item when we start looking into the costs and where we might start this project first. The building that would have the greatest impact is the DPW building. So that's something that I've been inquired about, and I just wanted to fill you guys in on that. As Jim Turner mentioned, the ZBA meeting was canceled because of a lack of quorum. There will be costs involved for re-noticing the 100-foot notice for that variance, unfortunately. I attended the Trail Towns meeting today. I have also been working with Lynn on a project through MDOT. We have been selected to host a regional training event for bicycle facilities planning. This is something that Lynn is going to be working with MDOT on coordinating, and we will be inviting local officials as well as other stakeholders and neighboring communities to attend. This, in essence, is a session where people can get together and learn more about different things that a community can do for safe bike routes and things to help coordinate safer bike routes and setting up equipment. Department budgets have been submitted to Mary Ellen. She's working on entering that into the BSNA system. I'll be working with her towards the end of the month on meeting with the department heads to review those, and eventually they will be coming to you guys. That's all I have for now.
Commissioner Simpson, you want to start us off?
Sure. This is just an attempt to answer a couple of questions I've heard today and from previous meetings. We've been asked a couple times, and then there's a lot of misinformation, PA 33, but one of the questions is, should PA 33 pass, the general fund relief that we receive from the new funds, what does that cover? And the biggest answer is, it's to cover deferred maintenance on our facilities. We have many wonderful facilities. Some are historic facilities, and the past decades in Marine City, we have had experienced a lot of deferred maintenance on these facilities. City Hall or 300 Broadway is often a common target when people speak on things. The reason why that building got as bad as it did is there was monies that were not budgeted to maintain that building, and this is seen over and over again in a number of other locations in the city. So that general fund relief, those monies would be used for things like the leaky roofs we have, a rotation on replacement of windows that are badly needed, which in exchange would make those buildings more energy efficient. These types of things, there's individuals that have come to us and say, our temporary city hall is not ADA compliant. That's a terrible thing. Everything should be. This meeting space is not ADA compliant. Oftentimes, we hear people say that they've stopped showing up to meetings because they can't hear us. There's no microphone system. We sit in broken chairs and tables. These general fund monies would cover these things that we haven't been able to budget for just because they're non, there's items that, I shouldn't even say are not priorities, because they should be. Our access to individuals in our city should be a priority to us. Maintaining our buildings that we have, whether they be historic or new or old, or middle age, should be a priority. These are the things that we've been trusted with. So that's where this general fund relief monies go. There are many projects listed. I'm sure if given time, we could list 100 more projects that have just been deferred over decades. This isn't a project that we've created. This is a project that this board and previous boards have inherited because of decades of deferred maintenance and budget cuts and a number of other things. So that's what this chunk of money would be able to be used for. And so, a number of people had asked that. So again, I just implore people to get out to vote this week. One other thing that really struck my mind today, people were saying, well, people have voted against things over the years. you know, I've been up here on a number of occasions and indicated our voter turnout is 18 to 22%. Simple math tells you that is not anywhere near the majority of our voters that go out and say things. So if something's been voted down, that's 18 to 22% of just registered voters, not even our total population of our city that are speaking on that behalf. That's not the majority of our city. These aren't every single person out there speaking up against something. It's a select handful of people. It's unfortunate. I wish our voter turnout was in the 80%, or even 50% would be a substantial improvement. But when people say things have been voted down, you know, our voter turnout, you know, 18, 22%, you know, not even 30% on a presidential election year. That's a terrible thing, but it certainly does not represent the majority of individuals in our city. So I just wanted to point that out. You know, when people say, you know, I hear a lot of people, well, this is numbers. Our actual voter turnout numbers are terrible, and that's what, you know, I think is a different way of looking at that. But again, I just implore people to get out, no matter what side of an issue you are on, is get out and vote. There's many important things to be spoken on this election, and the election's coming this fall. So please get out to vote. Both precincts are here in the Marine City Fire Hall, so please make an effort to attend.
Thank you. I'm going to trick everybody. Mr. Melly, you're up next.
Nice going. Okay. I do want to say, you know, you've heard my point of view about the PA 33, and one of the biggest things that PA 33 was designed to help out the police department and the fire department. And since our chief of police has left, our budget got quite under control in the police department, and I'm well pleased. And there was a gentleman that mentioned about unions and stuff. Well, personally, I'm totally against part-time, okay? I believe that people should be more efficient being full-time employees, although we are able to help out the cadets with getting their training, and it's also helping us out with our police department. But our biggest fund was about our chief of police, that he took a lot of money, and our department is now quite efficient, and it's got under control, where there was thinking about hiring the sheriff's department versus our own personal police department. Well, when you start crunching in the numbers and things start coming under control, it makes a big difference. I am well pleased with our police department, and it's nice to see them putting their heads together and working with the city. And I personally, you know, you talk about different things with the PA 33. Yes, the city can always use extra money. There's no question about that. But there are different things that we as Michigan people, we're under the gun more or less about finances and whatnot. We're now one of the states that's finally starting to come about. And because of the auto company, you know, the auto factory used to be the major portion of the income for Michiganders. And yes, our roads can use to be repaired, but in due time. There's things that I understand with our town, that this town is a very giving town. And believe me, if you work on any clubs or any volunteer aspects of working with the people, and when there is a need, I've always found that people always contribute. And maybe they don't give millions of dollars, but you know what? That's not how Marine City has been established. It's by the people working together. And it's the little bit of money that comes together. And believe me, if the people realize that, okay, we're going to designate, we're going to do something with the roads, and we want to take a millage, the take up on the millage, you might be surprised. It's going to probably pass. Because people do know, if they know exactly where the money is going to go, people will respond. And they do care about our city. That's my aspect, that I do know that our town, yeah, we can always use extra money, but you know what? It's right now, people are starting to get work, and they're starting to get increases in their wages and whatnot, well then, when that point comes about, then yeah, I can see things happening. But right now, we're just at a transitional stage that I realized talking with the different people, and people have communicated with me, and they said, you know what, Ray, there's certain things that they like to see in our town. And I felt like, yeah, okay, but it does take time, and we have gotten grants, we have done developments on the waterfront, and money is starting to be spent. And it's not like we're holding back on everything. We are spending money, and we are putting it back into the town. But I can't tell you to say that exactly where the money's gonna go for the PA 33, but you know what? It's your decision. But just be mindful, when you make a valid vote, if you say yes, you're including everybody's taxes to be increased. If you say no, then you're saying no, then it's not going to be increased. But it doesn't stop you if you want to donate extra money to the city. Anybody, the city will gladly take extra money. If you feel you got blessed, you won the lottery, something like that, fantastic, then you're able to bless the city. More power to you. We'll make a plaque for you, you know. But, you know, I just feel like I'm concerned for the different people because there is a lot of needs. And I'm looking at the town, and I'm looking at the different people, and I wish everybody was well off. Then that would be a different story. But I don't see it that way. And I just feel as though I want to be for my constituents and being for my people, that I'm here to help and I'm concerned, and I just want to go from there. But that's my point of view, and you are free to vote yes or no. I'm not going to tell you no, or I'm not going to tell you yes, but that's your decision that you have to make. I just want to say thank you, and please vote. It is important to exercise your right to vote. Thank you.
Since I'm being tricky, guess who's up next?
Aiden.
Thank you for the guess. We've had a few snows now, so it indicates that it really is winter. And when I'm out walking, I see there's areas where the sidewalks are shoveled well. There's areas that are not shoveled at all, either because there's nobody at the house or somebody's not there. But there's a few areas where people will shovel and leave a mound. If there's some kind of dispute between neighbors, I'm not sure. But both sidewalks are shoveled, and they leave a mound blocking the sidewalk. There were several of them at the last storm. And perhaps when we're shoveling snow, we have to remember, shovel all the way down to the road, because when people are walking through there, they have to get from your sidewalk across to the next street. I have a lot of traffic along Westminster, so I see this. The budget situation, the money that would have been used was in the last budget. It's been pointed out that that can be seen by anybody. Since we didn't get the money, it's not spent. The money that would come in for PA 33, I believe, has to all be approved in the next budget, which is open to the public, so everybody will see exactly how that's being done. And the last thing on sidewalks, we have formed a sidewalk committee which would allow work to be done on the sidewalks, starting with a survey of what has to be finished. But I'm not sure where that's going to come in the budget. Just a comment that these are the small items that don't fit unless we actually make a special place for them, and that means more. So, when you want a service, we have to pay for it. Otherwise, we have to strictly decide we don't want the service and acknowledge that. Thank you.
Mr. Henry.
All right, I'll try to make this as quick as possible. All the information I've ever given out on PA 33 is the facts. I went through the budget, I completed a list of all the capital improvements, all the changes, didn't say one way or another, just gave everybody the information. I hear people talk about misinformation, then right out of their mouths comes the misinformation. The ready-to-serve fees for the water and sewer is what's being put aside to fix the water and sewer lines. You can't fix the water until we know what we have to fix, which is being done under a SAW grant. There's no point in paving any of the streets, because then you're just going to have to turn around and dig them back up. So you have to wait till that gets done. I've always combed through the budget, tried to give as much information. I've always made recommendations at budget time. I've tried to come up with solutions. I've tried to come up with cuts. But of course, I don't have the luxury of being on the side of where it's going to be approved. My problem is the 2% raises. We talk about legacy costs, but we still have the 2% raises in there. That's an issue for me. We won't know exactly how it's spent, which is due until the next meeting. What I did find interesting is that on our last audit, there was a chart that was shown at a public meeting that showed our general fund was increasing this year for the first time after that last audit. So I thought that was very interesting. So people just need to get out and vote and make the decision on their own Tuesday. So please make sure you exercise your right. Thanks.
Commissioner Levitt.
Thank you. I would like to reiterate the importance of getting out to vote, not just for PA 33, but also it is the primary, and so you are selecting the person you would like to represent your party, Republican, Democratic, for the upcoming election. So do come out. It's usually a poor turnout. Of course, it's both precincts are here and meet in this building on that day. Just also regarding PA 33, you know my opinions on that. I just want to point out that there have been many cuts in the city. In the past, we have not kept up our infrastructure. We have not put money back into those things, and using the trite phrase, we keep kicking the can down the road. And there comes a point when you can't go any farther. Look at your house. If you don't keep up the work on your home, it disintegrates. It could be on a beautiful home when you bought it, but it needs upkeep. It may need a new paint job. It may need a few new boards replaced here or there. It may need new windows, et cetera, et cetera. You have to keep it up. And the same is true of our city. If you look at it as our home, which it is, we can't just keep doing the minimum and getting by. We need to put something into it, and that is what PA 33 is allowing us. It gives the money to the police, fire department, and frees up money then that we can use within the city. And looking at a 2% raise, that is very minimal. I say don't remember the amount. These are people who haven't had raises in years. And I wonder how many other people have not had raises in our community, and who time is cut and et cetera. But we've gone to part-time people. The police department is 3 full-time, and the rest are all part-timers. City Hall has a number of part-time people, et cetera. There's been a lot of cuts, and we need to continue to build our city, and I want to see it be, the city that it can be and is becoming. So get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. I'd like to thank the board for having a nice meeting. It was relaxing. No arguing or fighting, so that was pretty good. I'm going to address a few things that were said at the podium. The notion that Tifa is responsible for our budget problem is just not true. Tifa recovers tax money that would be going to other communities. Any cost that the city has from their own tax revenues is paid back from Tifa to the city. So the money is tax money, but it's tax money that would have been spent in Marysville or Fort Gratiot or somewhere else. So Tifa brings that money back to our town. And Tifa has done wonderful things, great work for this town. The recovery that we've had in our downtown business area was not an accident. It was planned, it was designed, and it was financed by Tifa. So if you think Tifa's a waste of money, well, you know, I guess you're not interested in the recovery that's going on, but Tifa's been very good to the city. It wasn't stupid to continue to capture tax money from other areas, from all money that would go to the sheriff or to the here or to there. We capture a little bit of that, we bring it back to our city to invest in our city. It's been a good thing. Drugs and is a problem. There is a heroin and a opioid prescription pill problem in this city. We know about it. We have right now a police department that's not fully staffed. We eliminated a complete shift 2 years ago. We have our lieutenant who's also acting as a chief, so his time's strained. So that's part of what the PA 33 would pay for. It would help boost our department back up, put more police on the street, hopefully allow them some time to do some, community policing, get into the high school, talk to these kids, try to address this drug epidemic that's really sweeping the country. And it's a horrible thing, and I would like to actually see that we have more police that could do something about it, or attempt to do something about it. Then we had the comment that because the commissioner wasn't giving a bunch of emails that we're hiding something. We have a pretty new city manager, about 6 months on the job. If you really think that she's already got enough skeletons in her closet that she wants to hide emails from commissioners, you're mistaken. The reason that request wasn't approved initially is because it was a burdensome request that would have taken a lot of time to honor. There was no specific inquiry. It was just kind of a overall net that was being cast. So, we do have a very minimal budget. So unless you're talking about some unfinished business or some new business, or you actually know there's something wrong and you can give some specifics on it, I think the city manager had every right to say, no, that's a little bit too much, let's refine that a little bit. Mr. Haas had sent me a message, and he gave me a lot of information on things in his neighborhood. I did turn that information over. The one neighbor that you thought had his house listed as a homestead was given to the assessor to research, and it turns out that house is not listed as 100% homestead. It is listed as zero homestead. So it is on the tax rolls properly, just so you know. The other issues about blight in your neighborhood, I did ask the police to try to take a look at that and do something about it. So we're not just not listening. Enough is enough is a comment we hear a lot, that we keep asking for more and more. Well, it's true that we have to with the water bills, and Commissioner Hendrick addressed that, the need for that, and the fact that it has to pay for itself. And if you read the newspaper, water rates are going up everywhere, not just here. So we're not the only ones struggling with that. But enough is enough. Anyone that's lived here before, prior to 2007, has seen a declining tax bill because their property values have declined as much as 40%. A lot of people have seen their tax bills lowered. There was 3 mills that came off because of a debt retirement. I think it was in 2012, 13? 2013. So enough is enough. We keep asking for more and more. The fact of the matter is, yeah, we do keep asking for more and more, but we're not getting it. And if, like I said, if you've been here prior to 2007, you have seen a steady decline in the taxes you're paying in this city. Moving on to dog poop. We had a gentleman come to the podium last week very frustrated with dog poop. And I share your pain and anguish and angst with that. The last thaw we had just shows how irresponsible pet owners are being in the city. Unfortunately, the only way we could actually enforce it was if an officer was there, caught the dog in the act, and could write him a ticket. There is a fine for that. It's a $75 fine. It's almost impossible to enforce. So people that have dogs, you just have to be respectful of other people and carry a bag and pick up after your dog. I bring 2 bags because, you know, sometimes these dogs get ambitious. And they'll go more than once. And that's about all I got for tonight. So everyone go out and vote. And
One quick public announcement.
sure.
The office, the Marine City office is open from 10 to 2 on Saturday for absentee voter ballots.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, so now we're about to go into closed session. The City Commission will enter a closed session for the purpose of considering a confidential attorney-client communication regarding a legal opinion. There may or may not be action taken upon our return open session. You're welcome to come back and join us after the closed session is completed. The purpose of the closed session is to discuss employee compensation for the chief that has recently left.
Make a motion that we move into closed session.
A motion and support.
Write down the time.
Time is
8:22.
8:22.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
We haven't even voted on this yet. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're officially going into closed session.
Okay.
Okay, we're coming back into open session at, it was at 8:43, the vote to come back to open session was, and anybody want to make any motions or?
We'll make a motion to have the city manager get us more information for the issue.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.